Uh, my main reaction is that everybody's reaction about the announcement is people who don't know him personally. And I was there. So I understand where everyone's coming from. I'm not looking at it and going, this is insane. Like I get it. Uh, Prior to me meeting him the first time, from everything that I had read and seen, uh, I would have never thought that I could sit in a room with him and find common ground and think that that person is going to be somebody I'd be like, okay, I can look past what's being said and know that there is actually a good person in there.
I respect that. Like I said, you can only deal with somebody on how they treat you. Well, let's talk about Circle Six, Sickest of the Six. What was the idea behind bringing him in? Um, do you think we're going to be seeing him in a capacity down the line where he's going to be getting into some of this deathmatch stuff? Tell me what the thought process was with bringing him in for Circle Six.
As far as bringing him in, I think if we're going to see him actually wrestle or any other capacity other than this, it really kind of depends on his health and where he's at, and making sure that's all sorted. So all of that still remains to be seen 100%, at least to the point where we would feel comfortable. Uh, I had conversations with him a few times last year. I'd had a conversation with him this year. It wasn't it wasn't there yet, and the last few conversations that we had were him wanting to come and be at a place where he can, I don't know what the best way to put this is, kind of be remembered for something different. He doesn't want to be remembered as this MAGA Trump supporter guy that's like fully right wing, crazy QAnon shit. Uh, and I feel like when he tells me those things, it's genuine. After getting to know him, I think it took a while for me to get to know him, understand the person that he is, and believe that he's thinking differently. Conversations I've had with him, I'm talking to a guy who's uh, remorseful for having anybody feel like he had made them feel uncomfortable or unwanted or unwelcome, and that's why uh, that's why this happened. That's why finally it was like, okay, we'll pull the trigger, because there was a level of comfort of understanding who the person is and really believing that he's committed to changing his thought process, perception, and who he wants to be remembered as. And that's kind of like, I feel like to a degree this company was built on the opportunity for change and second chances and showing a better version of people. I'd like to stick by that.
I respect that. Well, with that being said, I mean, what do you think for those that maybe aren't really aware of what Drake did outside of being referee with WWE? What is it that you think Drake brings to the table for Circle Six? Because I'm not gonna lie, when you hit me up and said all the Drake stuff, that wasn't the Drake I thought of at first. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, knowing what I know about his past before he got into doing the ref and stuff and all that stuff, what do you
Yeah.
think is the value for him?
Years of experience and knowledge, and the man did spend 7 years working for the WWE. He was involved in a lot of high level situations. There is a lot of knowledge he could bring to the table. He could, if his body's ready to go, there are some big matches he could bring to the table. And I think there is a place for him to like end his career on a good note. Are we able to do that? Hopefully. I think it's going to take both sides, and it's going to take a lot of understanding from people, and the ability to like look past what they've heard to move forward. And it's going to take a lot on him to send a new message out as to like who he is and how he wants to be remembered. And I think that remains to be seen. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I feel confident based on the conversations that we've had that he does want to change. And that's why we're here.
I like it. I respect it. Like I said, I mean, I don't, I wasn't the biggest fan of all the stuff we saw with the Trump stuff. Like I said that on the show when it all first
Yeah.
come out. But at the end of the day,
I,
go ahead.
I agree, and this is something that I've said to friends of mine that have reached out to me about it. Is that him and I are two completely different people. Like I said, going into meeting him, my guess would have been that I would not have wanted to be around him. I would not have liked him. Um, but I also am open enough to like sit down and have a conversation with anybody. And we've had conversations where I've said like, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, but I can look past where the things that were said and look at the guy and go, the intention is correct, the delivery is wrong. What the intent is what matters, and I think as long as the intent is good, people can learn and change. And you got to put them in an environment around people with a different mentality for them to get the opportunity to learn new things and change and grow. And that's what we're trying to do differently.
Here's somebody on YouTube. You're getting choice already overshadowed your tournament. Man, you're gonna have haters any way you go with it. Like you said, you're the only one that knows the conversations that happen with it. I feel like if you guys can have a good show and there's not any like real negative feedback that comes from it, that's where we see where we go down the road. I totally get what you're saying, but what was so let me ask you about that then, since people are bringing that up in the comments. I mean, you were the one that told me to take a look at Twitter right after you guys announced that he was coming in. What are your I know you said that it's from people who don't know him, but when you first started seeing that reaction on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook and all that stuff, what are your thoughts? Was there any thought of like, oh shit, maybe this was, maybe this might get me in a little bit of trouble, or damn, I didn't expect this to get me that much heat? Or is it something where you were kind of just like, regardless of what happens with this, we're fucking doing it?
I was not expecting it. I don't think any of us were expecting it to be this negative. Of course, there was going to be negativity attached to it, but I don't think anybody here had the intention of going back on it. Because if we went back on it, to me it's like saying, yeah, we were wrong. I don't think anybody can tell us that. I don't think anybody can really like say we're wrong and Drake's the one that could prove us wrong. If Drake's the one that if there's no change in his thought process or delivery or anything else, it really that comes from him.